wrote down everything I learned this month so I could remember it and share it with you. I want to do these as like a kind of a journal, so I don't lose track of all of the tough lessons I learned. Focus on one project per day is the thing that you keep forgetting. You have different kinds of energy throughout the day. It's easiest to do different kinds of tasks during those times of day. That's a good thing. But don't, when you feel yourself switching from one kind of energy to another, like, oh, I'm all out of creative energy, I'm ready to do some busy work. Make sure your creative time and your busy time are focused on the same goal. Could be cleaning the house. Get, all your brainstorming at the beginning. Get all your, then do your busy work. Whatever it could be writing a script. Get your imagination work done early. Then do the busy work of editing. Focus on one project, because switching between project to project makes it all alienating and meaningless. If you have one project during the day, no matter how many failures you encounter, no matter how many obstacles you encounter, you'll still feel like you got something done on that. Makes your successes more meaningful. Makes your frustrations less meaningful. Less, weighty. When you remember a past trauma, act on it. Make it a to-do item. This was a reminder to resolve it with that person. You think, oh, this person really let me down. Make it a to-do item to restore a relationship with that person. Otherwise, it's just going to keep occurring to you. Actually add it to your to-do list, even though it'd be easier to just let it keep hurting you. People will generally apologize if you ask them to. Oh yeah, that's a big one, because for me, I tend to just describe that I've been hurt and thinking like the person is going to apologize about it. They don't always do that. They just think you're complaining. At least for me, they just think I'm complaining. Whereas if I just tell them, hey, I really think you owe me an apology, or maybe say it softer than that. Just like, it would help me if you would apologize about this. At least people who surround me don't pick that up from the way that I say it. They think I'm just complaining, and so nothing happens. If they don't know that's what you want, then you end up thinking that they don't feel bad about it and aren't willing to apologize, and that damages the relationship just based on how you communicated it. When people do things that seem like they don't like you, remember that they have a vastly different cognition style than you do. You don't know what they're thinking. Yeah, what I've been learning is you very much don't know what people are thinking. Like, at any time. Everybody speaks a different language internally to himself, and so somebody does something. You only know what internal thoughts he would have had. You only know what internal thoughts you would have had that would have led to that action. And maybe those thoughts are that you dislike this person, you want to end the relationship with this person, you don't care about seeing them again. Maybe that is what would have been going on in your mind if you did this thing that he has just done. And he might have a completely different reason for that. He might have been trying to assist you. He might have just been doing it without thinking. It is possible for people to do things without thinking that you would have thought before doing, and that you even would have thought something negative before doing them, which is maybe why you don't even do them, right? Like, this is that situation of somebody doing something you would never do. Why does everyone treat you so much worse than you treat other people? Well, change the language. Why do people do things you would never do? It's because those actions are coming from different thoughts for them. They maybe still would never do anything as cruel as the thing you think they did and the thing that you wouldn't do. Point is, they didn't do that. Point is, that action came from a different place for them. And if they did, and if they were trying to hurt you, who cares? Somebody try to hurt you? What if somebody was trying to work you harm? You should feel sorry for them. That's a fool. It doesn't reflect on you for somebody to do something unkind to you. There was a man once who claimed to be a philosopher, that is, somebody who loves wisdom. And a real philosopher said, well, I have to test you. I have to see if you can bear insults, because this is what a philosopher can do. This is one of the powers of a philosopher. And so the philosopher heaps insults on this man, and the man listens to them quietly, and then says, now do you believe me that I am a philosopher? The philosopher said, I would have believed you if you had remained silent. You see, he was only enduring the insults in order to prove a point. It was not because he was actually impervious to them. I guess that's a little beside the point. I'm trying to make to myself here, but it illustrates that philosophers do not get insulted. Insulting things and foolish words that are directed at us do not reflect our value, because nobody has made that person into our judge. That person is not the one who's capable of passing judgment on our value. Pray for them. Your parents cared about the candy thing. Suffice it to say, there was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me as a child. And my parents did nothing about it. And I confronted them on it recently, and they both agreed that what happened was grossly incorrect. One of the grown-ups involved should have stepped in. They should have stepped in. And they explained to me what they were going through at the time, not as an excuse, just this is what we were going through at the time. This is why we didn't have the attention to deal with this. And now as an adult, I was able to see that, yes, indeed, if you were going through those things, you probably wouldn't have had the attention to deal with this thing. For me as a 7-year-old, this was the biggest thing that had ever happened. For them as grown-ups, yeah, it was wrong. They should have dealt with it. But as grown-ups, it's like they had big stuff going on that I now understand. So it's good to gain that adult perspective on whatever your past is. I mean, you'd never know if you didn't confront people. You'd never know if you didn't ask them to apologize to you. You would never know this if you didn't decide that they have a different cognition style, they have different things on their plate, and ask them what the deal was. I didn't even ask them in a good way. And they still cared. Some of the most fulfilling things in your day you do not feel like doing. Yeah, that's true. I never want to run a role-playing game. Once I'm running it, I love it. I never want to call certain people on the phone. I never want to call my dad on the phone. Once I call him, I love it. So, I'm wrong about a lot of the things that fulfill me. Other people can't be my judge. I can't judge what is good for me either. I have to take that on faith. Let's see. When you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because you haven't created enough. You haven't created enough. Once you grow up, you have less time off, but we're making a mistake. Play for children wasn't time off. Play was creating. Play was learning. As an adult, you have less time off, but time off is a non-category. You shouldn't really have time off anyway. You should always be learning and creating. And you need to categorize those things as your fun. What is my fun? My fun is building things out of wood or making videos, even calling my dad, running a role-playing game. So things that I don't always want to do because they feel like work. Well, play was work. Kids just do it automatically because they're less sinful. Grown-ups, we idolize this thing called time off. We don't even have any time off a lot of times. You don't need time off. It's false. When you are feeling overwhelmed, it's not because you're lacking time off. It's because you haven't created or learned enough. Learning, creating, maybe the same thing. They have the same ends, don't they? Write yourself a kind to-do list. This is the way I wrote my to-do list. Check this out. My to-do list was, this is a prep and chores day, which is one project. Your challenges are, and I had 5 check boxes, like figure out this, have fun with your kids, finish strong, easy, like tasks like that aren't even really granular tasks. It's more like measurements. And here are some tasks to do. Get ready for this thing, brainstorm this, get prepared for that. and maintain momentum on this other project. And don't forget these things. Literally, that was the item I wrote for myself. Don't forget about this. Did you not forget about it? Yeah, I did. I did not forget about it. It was written down, so I can check that off right away. Just write yourself a kind to-do list, like a note in your lunch from your parent telling you, here's what your goal is today. Here's what you must do to succeed, and make those things things that you are capable of. That's what this video is to my future self.